Greenwood Pond double site is a hugely influential artwork. It helped establish a paradigm for public projects that promote deep understanding of the natural environment. It was a turning point in Mary's career. And it was seeing Mary's work has been transformative experience for many non-artists as well, myself included. One of the first major projects of hers that I saw was the pool complex Orchard Valley at Laumeier Sculpture Park. It's an amazing project. Like Greenwood Pond, it takes viewers on an excursion that feels both adventurous and intimate, revealing the bones of existing structures, including the shell of an old swimming pool and natural woodland features that were hiding in plain sight. That's something Mary often accomplishes. Like Greenwood Pond, pool complex is constructed from simple material. Mainly wood. It was completed a decade before the project in Des Moines and has been regularly maintained ever since. It remains in good shape. The same is true of South Cove, as Mary has just said, also built in the mid-1980s. South Cove, a beloved terminus to the Esplanade at the southern end of Manhattan, also requires regular maintenance. And indeed, it survived both 9/11 and Hurricane Sandy. A side note on the business of influence, at the East River waterfront adjacent to where I live, I can see it out my window, is a pier jutting out over the East River and a crown-shaped seating element, which is either a charming homage or a direct ripoff of an element that is one of the most appealing features of South Cove, which in the case of South Cove actually does refer to the Statue of Liberty, which it faces across the harbor. For a more significant example of the influence that Mary's work has had, I think the immensely popular Highline Park on the Hudson River is an excellent example. Its light physical footprint, its engagement with the water, its inventive reuse of existing structures, and introduction of native plantings all reflect her thinking. Greenwood Pond double site was developed over a period of 7 years. Between 1989 and 1996, it answered to many constituencies. One group wanted a demonstration wetland, another an outdoor classroom. The Des Moines Parks Department wanted to restore an area that had become derelict. Mary met these mandates with exemplary grace, moving visitors over and around the water, even most dramatically, bringing them eye level with the surface of the pond, where a passageway dips beneath it. A series of pavilions dot the walkway. Wetland grasses were planted along the water's edge. Greenwood Pond anticipated the kind of work that Mary has done since, as in Indianapolis, where she developed Flow. Can you see the river? I was lucky enough to see this project at its inception in 2011. Navigating the interface of urban and rural space, Flow was the first of the ongoing series, City as Living Laboratory, integrating advocacy and experiential learning and activating neglected corners of the city and its greenways. These projects include public events organized in collaboration with scientists, historians, and community representatives. Key to all of Mary's work is that it puts visitors in the landscape, not on it, which is a rare experience. Deciding to tear down Greenwood Pond is not only a great loss for present and future viewers, it's also a violation of trust. Specifically, it's a breach of the contract that the Des Moines Art Center entered into with Mary Miss, which included the pledge to, quote, reasonably protect and maintain the project against the ravages of time, vandalism, and the elements, close quote. Conserving the work in a museum's collection is not voluntary, it's not ancillary, it's fundamental to its mandate. Museums that collect art are stewards, they hold history in their hands. And in fact, conservation projects are often now made visible to an increasingly curious public. You see exhibitions of work being conserved in many major museums. Current conservation practice stipulates that no, this is a best practice mandate at the moment, no repair should be considered definitive or irreversible. In a fascinating 2016 feature article for The New Yorker, the wonderful writer Ben Lerner wrote about the Whitney Museum's replication committee, something I knew nothing about. He called it a little known but increasingly crucial committee of conservators, curators, archivists, a lawyer, and a registrar. It considers how fixing a work can bleed into replicating it. It's a long article. The question of abandonment is never even raised. Lerner explored some fascinating philosophical questions, but the case of Deep Pond is really simple. Repair is contractually mandated. The artist anticipated it would be needed. The necessary work is straightforward and not technologically challenging. As Mary says, I built all the early work myself as an untrained carpenter. Using ordinary materials, in this case mainly wood, and straightforward building processes is part of the point of this work, which, by the way, differentiates it from the inclination to monumentality and spectacle and to signatory forms favored by so many male artists who work on the land. It is, in fact, an irony of the present impasse, which has gained a considerable amount of media attention. I think that's a good thing. That Mary Miss's artistic stance is grounded in humility and deferring to the site, to the beauty that exists, and to the dire needs we face in preserving it. Her work is recognizable precisely for its respectfulness and responsibility. One hopes that those values would be reciprocated.